wouldn't consider myself like a gamer, so to speak. I'm one of those guys that plays like the same 5 video games like over and over again, you know. So I play a lot of video games. I just don't play new video games.
Yes. And if you do, they're the same new video games in a franchise you like.
Yeah. You're a bit more open to other things.
Yeah, I am. Not so much the action adventure genre in big open worlds generally.
Yeah, true. All this is to say, like, you know, we're 7 years late to the party, but it's just because we don't expand our palette enough as far as video games go.
No.
We played Jedi Fallen Order for the first time recently.
Yes.
Welcome to R2-BD, friends. My name's Joey.
I'm Jacob.
We like Star Wars. We're brothers. We like Star Wars. We like talking about Star Wars. And we had never played, up until very recently, Jedi Fallen Order. So, I guess let's begin. First off, spoilers, in case you haven't played this game. I imagine a lot more people have played this game than us.
Yeah. But spoilers, still, just in case, it is still a possibility.
Just in case you hadn't. But yeah, we decided to sit down for this, and also like it wasn't like I didn't like have the capability to do such a thing. Like I had a PS4 when Fallen Order was new.
Yeah. I
have a PS5 Survivor's out. You know, it's just like, I always could have.
They've sort of just never been on our radar enough to want to do it.
Yeah. However, this show prime excuse to get into such a thing.
This show's a prime excuse to do a lot of things.
Yeah. I guess let's kind of begin it by saying like what did we know like sort of going in. Because going in, I knew the name like Cal Kestis.
Yeah, I knew Cal Kestis.
I knew who he was. I knew he played by Cameron Monaghan.
I knew he liked ponchos.
That's true. I knew about the poncho thing. Ponchos were like a big part of the character. I had seen BD1. I didn't really know the droid's name.
I knew of BD1 through merchandising means, though, not in terms of the story.
Yeah. But I knew that. I knew Cameron Monaghan, who played Cal Kestis, who we had known ever since probably he first appeared on Gotham. Over like, oh no, that's 12. That's 12 years ago.
I guess that number's gonna make me sad.
That's 12. Yeah. He was on Gotham about. No, I guess more like 11 because he's like the back half of season 1. Anyway, Gotham's a great show. But no, he's great. Great actor. But I knew that. I think I know like a couple other random things in passing. I think, but there were also multiple times throughout the game where I was like, I think I know this thing through like just having heard it back when I wasn't interested in the games But I wasn't sure. I thought it was like about the franchise in general, not specifically. I didn't know what game it was from. So like I knew before this that there was like a game that featured like Ilum to some degree. Yeah. But I didn't know if that was like the first or second game. I didn't know.
And there was points when we were playing this game. We were like, where you were playing the game, and we were debating like, do you think it's the next game?
It might be the next game. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Of course, you know, lightsaber gets destroyed, and we're like, okay, well, cool.
This game.
it's got to be this one then. But yeah, there were like random things that I grew to like recollect as I went through it. Like by the end I was like, oh, that's right, I knew there was a Vader fight at some point, or what I thought was a Vader fight.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not a fight. It's not a fight. It's not a fight. It's you running for your life, which I think is
the only other thing I had a vague memory of. There was a Night Sister in the game.
Oh,
which
yes.
I mean, we experienced early on.
Yeah, we okay, I did know that there was a Night Sister. I didn't know that it would directly involve like Dathomir though.
Yeah. That was
directly following up on like, you know, the aftermath of the massacre of Dathomir during the Clone Wars. Because realistically, like, you know, we like to act as if there's like this kind of like great separation between the reign of the Empire and the Clone Wars, but like, let's say the massacre of Dathomir happens within the last year or two of the Clone Wars, and this is only 5 years after that. You're talking about six at the absolute most 7-year gap. Like, Dathomir is still recovering from that shit, and like the Night Sisters still don't really exist as a collective, you know. Cool stuff, cool ideas, a lot of cool ideas as we kind of jump into this. I gotta say that I thought this game would begin differently. I'm pretty sure I had seen like, maybe at some point in some kind of like YouTube video of someone like pulling footage from like an Order 66 flashback from this game. And so I thought like booting up the game, I was like, oh, that's how the game's going to begin, you know?
It would have felt like a fairly natural opening. Start with Order 66.
Yeah, no, that didn't happen. That
was way later than I predicted.
Yeah. But man, I think also like in my mind, back in the day, I say that. Back in the day, we, or I at least, had played a lot of the Force Unleashed games, and yes. I very much saw these games as like I guess sort of the new canon version of the Force Unleashed games, not obviously not to the same degree, but like fulfilling a somewhat similar purpose.
Oh, sure. That definitely that was my vibe of like when this game was new.
Yeah, it was like I think like obviously the concept is very different, but the idea of making a wholly original character that could explicitly be like a video game Force user that you could customize and use in different ways at your leisure throughout the games. That was a concept that was very familiar to Force Unleashed players from back in the day. So I thought very much story-wise, maybe that's where I got the idea of it opening with Order 66 came from. Because I thought that Force Unleashed began with you playing as Vader, which is so cool.
Yeah.
You play as Vader and you find little Star Killer on Kashyyyk. And you do also go to Kashyyyk in this game, oddly enough, which is kind of funny. Yeah. And there is still Darth Vader.
And there's still Darth Vader.
Indeed. But obviously, as far as characters go, Star Killer and Cal Kestis could not be any further apart from each other.
Nope. They are so far apart. My God.
Yeah. Of course, I'm not really going to waste any time in this kind of like trying to debate the whole, how many Order 66 survivors are out there, etc. Like, I don't really care. I've grown to never really care about that. I never really cared about it in the first place. Because it's like, I don't know, realistically, do you think a bunch of clone troopers could kill every single Jedi ever? Really? Like,
no, like a number will get away. They'll mostly be Padawans or younglings.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it almost, quote unquote, doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
It may only present itself as an issue when Masters on Masters keep surviving, and that's very few still.
Yeah. But no, so like as far as like Cal existing, I like what you often see with Order 66 survivors is them trying to like find their way, but still like do something significant. You have like the Kanan Jarruses who eventually like meet like Harrison Dula and become like a full-time rebel, and you have like Obi-Wan who's we know is obviously like, aside from hiding out on Tatooine, is still like would still occasionally pick up the lightsaber and go out there and be a Jedi again.
But broadly, he had a specific mission.
Yeah, but I like not only that Cal very much settled into one particular life, but that he hardly even knew life outside of that junkyard planet at the start of the game. Like, I really like that he just had an actual life there.
It feels very much, after giving the game a little thought, especially on that front. It feels very much like after Order 66 happened, he might have wandered for a little bit, but otherwise he would have like fell into a planet. The junkyard planet. I don't remember its name off the top of my head.
I don't think I wrote it down.
He might have fallen there, whatever. He made his way there, and they were like a no questions asked kind of employment.
Yeah.
They were like, "What's that, small child? You would like to work in the junkyard?"
Yeah. Yeah. But no, I think it totally works. I think seeing Cal as part of this life is really interesting. I think it's also a really good way to get the player into the controls. It's mostly a traversal mission at the start of the game, and there's something really cool. I remember thinking it was really cool the first time the game like says, "Oh, use the Force, just do it. Press this button, use the Force."
Use the Force,
as if it's like instinct. There's something to really be said about the way that video games can, especially for characters that are very much larger than life, like Cal Kestis, but playing an actual Jedi or playing a superhero like Spider-Man or Batman. These core big IP super powered characters. How do you actually put a player on the stick and make them feel like they are that character? I endlessly praise the Insomniac Spider-Man games with the way that every single one of them makes you swing a web for the first time. I adore that idea. I adore the way it makes a player feel when you're just like, oh shit, oh cool, I'm watching the cutscene, and it's like, oh, suddenly, oh, it's me, I'm doing it, I'm going in.
Yeah, you're now out of that cutscene. You're more familiar with that than I am. I don't really know the Spider-Man games like that.
It's such a cool feeling.
I know that feeling from this game, though.
Yeah, because it's cool. It does feel like instinct. You're like, oh, cool, I'm playing the game. Oh, I'm following. Okay. Oh, shit, Force. Yeah, sure, definitely. I'll use the Force. Definitely. That's what Cal would do. And it throws you into that. It makes it feel really natural. I really enjoy that. A lot of really cool tricks used throughout the game to sort of like play on player expectations. I loved especially The first one that throws you into meeting Jaro Tapal, your master, for the first time.
Oh, yeah. That was really good.
When you're following your fellow junkyard worker friend, Prof, who I fell in love with far too fast.
Far too easily.
to my regret. I love that sequence when I just kept trying the door. I was like on the tram thing, and I was like, what the fuck? It's not doing anything. And I turned around. It's like, oh, okay, cool. It's like the game doesn't really. Now this is both a criticism and a good thing.
Yes,
the game never holds your hand ever.
We will talk about when we had struggled with this, I'm sure.
Yes, the game never ever holds your hand, and sometimes that's really effective. Other times, good God.
We will get there.
Actually, I think let's take this opportunity to talk about the gameplay itself, though.
Okay, yeah.
Because having been the one that was on the stick for the playthrough, I think, it felt good. Here's the thing. I never had a problem with the controls. The controls always felt good. I always had a good time playing the game. The combat felt great. The force powers felt great. The platforming was fine. It's good.
He was on the stick. I watched. Mm-hmm. Just made the experience easier.
Yeah. But as far as I like a good open world game. I think I do usually. I have a problem with games that are a bit too open world.
Okay, you don't know this example. I'll say this. I like the Switch Legend of Zelda games, like Breath of the Wild and the like.
Yeah,
they're open world, but they aren't. They're not like this where there's open worlds.
Yeah,
where you could get yourself completely on the wrong track.
Yeah. Oh, like we did. I don't know. God.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
That's why I was.
I don't know why the fuck the game gives you the option so early on to go to Dathomir. Other than only if you knew it. Okay, let's also talk about this.
Yes. Okay. So,
about halfway through the game,
a little over halfway,
right before the return journey to Kashyyyk to find Tarful. About halfway through the game, we had a conversation with our one friend who adores these games, and he was talking to us about our experience with it, and then he started talking to us. We started talking to him about going to Dathomir for the first time.
Yeah, we were talking about that specifically.
Of course, us fanbrains, we were like, oh, well, I want to go to Dathomir. I want to see what's happening on Dathomir.
The game
I, the fan, want to see the familiar planet Dathomir because I love Dathomir.
Yeah, the game presented us with an option. We're like, well, Dathomir, obviously.
Yeah. We quickly learn, of course, you're not supposed to go to Dathomir, and we travel all of Dathomir only to realize, oh, you can't actually do it. You can't do this at all.
The game puts a hard stop, and it's really annoying.
Yeah. So we're talking with our friend. Our friend is like, oh, he's like, the only reason Dathomir is there is so you can get the double-bladed lightsaber earlier. And we're like...
We looked at him, we're like, what?
The what? The what, sir? I'm sorry? Keep in mind, this was on the return journey to Kashyyyk to find Tarful. Where in game right before you absolutely have to get the double-bladed lightsaber. He goes to us, he looks at us and he's like, fucking what? You don't have the double-bladed lightsaber yet? We're like, no, I didn't know that was a thing in the game. He's like, well, yeah, he's like, you get it at Dathomir if you speedrun the entire thing and you get to the end with the old guy. And we're like, oh, we got to the old guy. And he was like, you could have gotten it there. Dropping my phone at that, losing our fucking minds, of course.
We were like, what are you on about? A double-bladed lightsaber. And he's like, it was all in the advertising. We weren't paying attention to the advertising.
And then he's like, well, yeah, but then you should be able to get it on Bogano. And we're like, we never went back to Bogano. Ever. There was no reason for us to go back to Bogano, as far as we were aware. And he was like, yeah, if you go back there, you get the double-bladed lightsaber. I was like, fucking what? So, we tell him we're on the return journey to Kashyyyk. He texts me later and I was like, yeah, no, you're going to get it there no matter what, having looked into it. He's like, I didn't know that you could ever go that long in the game without getting it. Of course, us losing our goddamn minds at this.
And we, just for the record, for the rest of this conversation to be kept in mind, we took the game basically at face value.
Yeah.
When the game said go somewhere, we're like, okay, going there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. To be fair, we were doing this to record an episode of R2-BD. We're doing this so we could talk about this as a narrative and as a gameplay experience. We weren't necessarily I'm sure we'll get comments to be I'm sure we'll get skill issue comments, and I'm sure we'll get oh, you weren't truly exploring the game, but man, I felt like I was exploring plenty. Here's the thing, if I felt like I wasn't getting enough from the main story of the game and I felt like there was more to explore by not doing just the main story, then I would have done that.
Yeah.
But I already had the fulfillment of exploring these places and then some.
And then some. Dear God.
And then some, even without going to those other places and backtracking and just going around for collectibles. Because the only thing that we were hugely missing by the end of the game were just like a lot of ponchos,
a lot of the cosmetic stuff.
Yeah. Now, of course, that also we were very excited to get all of our little metal loot crate boxes.
There was a point, we will get there, where we were so pissed with the game in its gameplay.
No, sir. Let's be clear. Not gameplay.
Not
with the map, really.
With the map, really. You know, that's a better... With that. Anytime there was a box, we're like, best part of the game!
Best part of the game. We love the boxes. Of course. But no, that was it. Like, I never really felt incentivized as a player to go and backtrack all those places. Unless, I'd probably do that on a second playthrough. That's when I'd be all like, oh, I want to go around and get all the collectibles because I think that'd be fun. Never felt the need to.
No.
I don't know. Maybe that's on us. I don't know. I really don't think so though. Because I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Maybe there was some way that the game could have incentivized me to want to go back and get all those things.
And like we said, and like we acknowledged, maybe if we weren't doing it for the explicit purpose of experiencing the narrative to do this, then maybe. The
only other thing that really like cosmetically would have really excited me to go around and collect more of in the game would have been other lightsaber colors, which it turned out was pointless going out to look for anyway, because the game just gives you them all at one point.
And that was the one thing we always were on the lookout for.
Yeah.
Like when we would see a box, we'd be like, ooh, is it a lightsaber color?
Yeah, because I just wanted to change the color of my lightsaber. But whatever. I think it gives you the blue and the green automatically.
Yes.
And for some reason, I don't know why this is, maybe commenters can help me out with this one, the orange bladed thing and a couple of the other lightsaber customization options.
Yeah, what did
also
it say?
Premium content to the side.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I'm not sure why. I truly have no clue as to why it said that, but I had them from the beginning of the game. So I don't think I got a special version of the game. I just got because I had it for PS4, but we played it on PS5. I didn't. I think there is a PS5 upgrade for Fallen Order.
I wouldn't be shocked.
But we didn't upgrade it. So anyway, unrelated to all this.
Yeah, unrelated.
But I think the biggest criticism that I can levy at this game really is that it is just. It does feel almost too open world. I felt like I felt that I had to backtrack a lot of the planets a bit too much for my liking.
Yeah, especially what was the one that we kept going back to?
Zepho.
Yeah. Zepho. Oh god.
Yeah, we ended up learning like the Zepho map way too much for our own liking. Because it was just like, okay, well, every time you go through an entire dungeon, you have to backtrack the entire planet to get to the Mantis, and sometimes that return journey is fucking insane. Surely, I think when you've accomplished the main thing you're supposed to do in that dungeon on that quest, maybe the Mantis could just fly by and pick you up. Maybe there should be some kind of quick travel back to the Mantis, but you have to go through the process of traveling all the way back there.
All the way back.
Oftentimes, not even really getting anything of note on the return journey.
Maybe a skill point.
You'd have to refight all the enemies you had to fight on the way there, because you would definitely have to meditate at some point. On the way there and back. So all the enemies would respawn. And that was just something that I found particularly tedious about the game. Something that
it was absolutely the one part me and you always dreaded when we had to do that.
Yeah, when they would just be like, go back to the Mantis. I would pull up the map and be like, oh, I have to walk all the way back to the Mantis? Cool, badass, love that. Fuck you, game. like truly so annoying.
There's 2 planets we knew like the back of our hand by the end of the game.
Yeah. It was Zepho and Kashyyyk. I think Kashyyyk we learned very well.
Yeah.
Although Kashyyyk, I will say, I loved the return journey to Kashyyyk. I really did enjoy that whole sequence with the great tree. I think that's what's it called? The tree of life.
Tree of life. I was like, no. I was like, that sounds wrong.
Yeah. I enjoyed that sequence greatly. Also because it makes you do a big chase sequence back to the Mantis, essentially, and you have to like do all those slide and jumps.
That was cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. But anyway, back to the story, which I enjoyed. I enjoyed greatly.
Yeah, the story was really good.
Yeah, I do think it lacks a bit of momentum early on. I think like we see Seer for the first time. I think the way that Seer and Grease are introduced is odd.
It's a little odd.
Yeah.
Especially in retrospect, it's a little odd.
Like not knowing anything about the games or any of the tie-in stuff going in. Like I doubted early on. I was like, is Seer even actually a Jedi? Like, is she just lying to us? That was
It was very possible at that stage in the game.
Yeah. But But I mean, Seer ended up being probably one of my favorite characters in the game. I fucking loved Seer. I loved her relationship to her previous apprentice, Trilla, the second sister, as we came to know and love her. Or actually, we ended up calling her Trilla mostly throughout the game.
Oh, yeah,
she was the second sister for a very small portion of the game, really.
Yes.
But no, I like Seer's introduction. Aside from being a little wonky, I really.
What was the framing of their introduction? That they heard there was a Jedi on the junk planet and they go to rescue us?
Yeah, which happens very fast when you consider it that. Who knows where they were in the area in order to get there so fast. But like Cal gets rescued, Seer and Grease are this fun little ragtag crew that Cal ends up joining. Of course we find BD1 and Bogano, and by the end of the game we have Mirren joining the crew as well. I especially loved where the dynamic of the crew ended up going by the end of the game. And I find that Mirren didn't feel like she was on part of the crew enough throughout the final portion of the game. Like maybe she could have joined the crew like in an earlier portion.
Yeah,
of the
I
game,
said that too before. Like when we were playing the game, I was like, I feel like we should have had her on longer for this dynamic to truly blossom into something that would totally make sense.
Yeah, it is worth noting for those listening and / watching. We are going to be covering. We're doing a full-on Star Wars Jedi Gauntlet. So we're doing Fallen Order. We're going to be reading the comic next, Dark Temple. We're going to be doing the book, Battle Scars, and then we're going to be playing the second game, Survivor. So when I say like I'm very excited to see where a lot of this stuff goes, and I'm excited to see where they could potentially improve on these things. We're going to be doing this all at once, so we're going to be seeing it hopefully naturally develop in quick succession.
Yeah, this isn't one of those things where we cover like a book. Say when we did the Thrawn trilogy, all of those however long ago now.
Yeah. And those episodes were like really broken up.
Yeah.
And we would take a number of months off in between each book. This will be going straight through. Our next couple episodes will be all Cal Kestis and Seer Junda excitement and I'm looking forward to that greatly. I did actually start reading Dark Temple today.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so it's obviously not going to have anything to do with Cal based on what I've read so far.
No, even based off the cover, it doesn't look that way.
But it is great for Seer, and that's cool. But on Seer, I loved her development. I really did. I like seeing her trepidation at you know, of course the goal for most of the game is to try to rebuild the Jedi Order, as a great many Jedi I'm sure in the past have tried to do. But
they almost always end up going nah.
Yeah. I did love the journey to get to that point though, within this. But I like Seer. I like getting into her backstory with Trilla. I like that that intense regret that Seer feels at what she ended up doing to Trilla and how she ended up abandoning her. I really, really love that dynamic.
And it's certainly something we keep coming back to. Always with more information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And God, I mean, I truly do adore in the end, Seer ending up with the one Inquisitor blade and knighting Cal with that and like fully like, oh God, there's something really nice about seeing Seer not come to embrace the Jedi as a whole again, but to embrace Cal and to see that relationship actually develop over time. I do think because of how truly open world the game is, I think sometimes this goes back to that conversation about momentum again. Like that momentum can feel a little stunted because the game needs to play incredibly safe in order to make the player feel like they are, like in order they have to like jump through hoops in order to make the player feel like they have a lot of choice in the matter, you know. But like the game still has to fulfill this very set order of events, and that character arc will only continue to develop once you have completed those quests. And
we didn't notice that. Like we commented that we did this story basically as it was told for us to do it. When we did it, the story arc was making sense.
Yeah. And so you see, so I do like where the game ends up, and like I said, like especially like probably from that. Oh God, let's see. Who destroys our? Malicos destroys our lightsaber, right? Or no, we destroy our own lightsaber.
We destroy our own lightsaber in like a force, like a force vision fit.
Yeah. After the Order 66 thing.
Yes, because we go right from Order 66 vision to like a hallucination vision kind of thing.
Yeah. But I think like the run from finding the tomb on Dathomir and that Order 66 flashback, that entire run to the end of the game, it's the solid last couple hours. I think is the strongest thing that the game does the entire runtime.
Totally.
It's really fucking cool. I really love it. Does of course not to take away from a lot of the other things I enjoyed about the game. I find the early Cordova quest with the temples and those various dungeons with the Zepho to be a little tedious, which kind of goes hand in hand with the conversation about backtracking. I don't know. A lot of the dungeon puzzles got jarring, not jarring. I mean, I guess tedious, not to repeat that word constantly. But I think tedious is probably an accurate word for me.
It's absolutely the accurate word.
Yeah.
Was it that first dungeon that had us the most mad?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. The first one on Zepho, right?
Yeah.
That one I found myself somewhat annoyed with. But yeah. Let's see. Kashyyyk. I want to talk about Kashyyyk. Because man, right after coming straight off of the first Zepho dungeon, Kashyyyk was a breath of fresh air.
Oh, that was the best part of that session for sure.
Yeah. Aside from the Ilum Fortress Inquisitorius segment, I think as far as the regular planets you visit throughout the game, I think Kashyyyk is probably my favorite when it comes to comparing it to like Dathomir and Zepho and Bogano.
It was one of the best for sure.
I mean, it comes out swinging. You've got that fantastic AT-AT sequence. You got Saw Gerrera. It's incredible. It's not just because of the characters I enjoy, but man, there's something so fun once again about putting the player in that position and making you feel as powerful as that moment should. You're piloting an AT-AT. It's so much fun.
It was so good.
Yeah. And once again, we have Forrest Whitaker as Saw Gerrera. I gotta add, it's gonna go on to that long list of things that I eventually want to do, like a Saw Gerrera marathon, and see how that character just becomes more and more horribly radicalized as time goes on. But no, it's great to see him. I enjoy that greatly. I find it interesting that Tarful ends up becoming a character that we need to continually go back to, or at least go back to the quest of finding Tarful.
Yeah. They stretch it out across what is effectively 2 missions.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I do like the idea that like Tarful is a freedom fighter on Kashyyyk. Tarful is notably, of course, the chief Wookiee in Revenge of the Sith that Yoda's traveling with, alongside Chewbacca. And so I just realized how much I never say the full word Chewbacca. How I always say Chewie. saying Chewbacca sounds weird. Is that weird?
I can understand. Yeah, no, exactly what you mean.
That just hit the word came out of my mouth, and I was like, I never say that. I never just say Chewbacca. But no, I find that interesting that like after that event and after the rise of the Empire, Tarful ends up becoming this freedom fighter of sorts and having a kind of information on the Jedi, and I guess there's that implied history between him and Yoda. I mean, Yoda does have good relations with the Wookiees, of course.
Naturally. So it does make sense that he would lead the Wookiee rebellion, if you will. Mm-hmm. Or be a leader, if not the leader.
Yeah.
Because he would have immediately looked at the clones, even though the clones have no necessary beef with the Wookiees. Mm-hmm. He would have seen them attack, like, Yoda, and been like, oh, I see.
Yeah. And it fucking steps right in there. It's great. It really is. But yeah, I guess I'll talk about the other Kashyyyk mission right now, because that was easily the stronger one. I like the idea of freeing the Wookiees on the first time there. You like go through that Imperial prison, and trying to save them. That was cool.
That was good.
But man, I loved the Tree of Life segment. That was so fucking cool. A lot of excitement there in general. Like finding Tarful, getting the double-bladed lightsaber, exploring the Tree of Life. But man, I didn't write down the actual name of it. The bird thing.
The majestic bird one.
The one that we befriended before having to fight another bird thing on Dathomir.
Yes.
I love that sequence. Really cool sequence. Great, fantastic cinematic moment for Cal. Immediately followed up by a battle with the Ninth Sister. I don't think she's dead.
I don't think she's dead either.
I think we're gonna see that bitch again. I really do.
I definitely think she's still alive. I think we would have seen her die if she was dead.
Yeah. I do also really like the way that this game continually introduces you to force powers. I like the idea that, like, in the years that Cal has been isolated from the Jedi, I've been isolating himself from the Force, and so we use that as a really nice opportunity to reintroduce the player, or rather, introduce the player properly to using all of these abilities for the first time again.
Yeah.
So, you know, learning like force push, force pull, double jump, things like that, are done through these training segments and slash flashbacks with Jaro Tapal. First off, played by Travis Willingham, who I adore, of course. He's so good. Is a Lasat also, which I like the idea of a Lasat Jedi.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the more unique and more obvious character designs.
Yeah, but I really love those segments and immediately giving the player this sense of familiarity with this training room makes the fact that the Order 66 flashback begins there all the more effective. God, I love that flashback so much. It's also the only segment of the game, as far as I can tell, that actually uses a John Williams piece for the score. Properly uses the Order 66 music as you're traveling through that ship. It's so good.
If there was any other pieces of John Williams music, it would have been around the Vader segment at the end. But we were too busy running away to notice.
We were terrified. But no, I mean, yeah, I love that segment so much. And of course, there's some great parallels drawn to the game. You know, seeing Jaro Tapal, like, you know, fight those, having that segment where, like, you're watching through this window as Tapal, like, takes on these clones, and that being mirrored later when Seer's taking on the various Imperial troopers, I think works really nicely. I think the game was also preparing us subtly for like Seer to die, and she just never did. I'm glad she didn't.
Yeah, I'm glad she didn't, but it was definitely when she entered that mirrored segment.
Yeah.
Where we're like, oh, she's gonna die.
Yeah,
we could just feel it.
Yep. Let's see. The fighting pit. See, it was so significant. I almost forgot about the fighting pit.
You almost forgot to write it down when it happened.
That's why in my notes it goes back to Kashyyyk, and then I wrote afterwards, oh yeah, fighting pit, and then the notes about fighting Tarful. God, the fighting pit was such a cool segment and just so utterly pointless.
Because we're temporarily captured, right?
We're captured on the return journey from Zepho by those random ass, like, bounty hunter looking trooper guys that we fight a number of throughout the game, that I think had something to do with Grease. It was implied, like he knew them from his backstory.
Somehow.
Yeah, it's not the best. It's once again that open world problem of being like, yeah, we want to, like, naturally explore these ideas through dialogue, but also, like, it's not making a proper, like, moment out of the event, like how learning this about Grease should be like a heart-to-heart, a proper conversation, but it's more just like, oh yeah, we're walking around on the Mantis as, like, Grease is just spouting what is realistically important dialogue.
But like, it's played up like the whole sequence goes, we're captured, we're freed, we free ourselves effectively. Mm-hmm. We wind up on a fighting pit, are given back our lightsaber. Mm-hmm. We fight, I think, one example of every enemy we fought up to that point.
All the various kinds of animals, at least.
Yeah. And then the Mantis just shows up, and we could leave. Mm-hmm. And we get on the Mantis, and Grease is like, oh yeah, they know me, I used to gamble. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, never brought up again. I'm hoping it gets brought up again in, like, future things, but also I don't want to praise the game for something it didn't do, or something it might do eventually.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But yeah, no, it's a cool sequence, it really is, but it ends so abruptly, and just, I don't know.
When you were playing it, even there's that moment of the Mantis coming in, but we're so locked into fight mode. Mm-hmm. We're like, oh god, another thing.
It's like, oh, we gotta fight this thing now. I didn't realize it was the Mantis. But again, it's handled really well. I like the fight with that trooper leading up to it. Like, it's scripted. You're meant to die there, and
you noticed it because when you died, it didn't say respawn.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second, something's really weird about this, and it was a mandatory death in the game, and I enjoyed that. I think the slow rebuilding of your abilities as you travel through that prison really effective. As you, like, use the Force, but you don't have your lightsaber, you don't have BD. You find BD, then you get your lightsaber. It works really well. I like the build up. It's a cool sequence, but man, it feels pointless by the time it's over.
I'm not entirely sure why it's there.
Yeah. But let's see. Dathomir. Let's actually talk about Dathomir, though, because this is. Darth Vader was really cool on return journeys, mostly because also I felt so powerful going back to Darth Vader after our first journey.
Oh, after our first journey, good lord.
Went back there with my double-bladed lightsaber, started tearing through everything. It was awesome. Mirren activated the zombie Night Sisters on the planet. It was great. They're really like low health enemies, and like were really easy to like just tear through.
Just mow down.
Yeah, very fun, very fun. We fought a bat thing that I was about to write down the proper name of. Worst boss fight in the game.
That was such a weird boss fight.
Yeah. It was such a strangely repetitive process. I mean, boss fights are... Here's the thing. The nature of boss fights in video games in general are teaching a player a pattern to learn for the boss fight. And once they're in that, then they can do that a couple times and the boss can be defeated. That's fine. There are some great examples of this. Some games do it better than others. This game's fine with it. The bat thing fight on Dathomir was so strange because, man, it just felt too easy. Like,
what was strange about it was it did feel too easy, but it also introduced the mechanic to do big damage to it, but we only pulled it off like once.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was like if it was like a problem with us, or maybe the game just wasn't giving us the opportunity to do it. Very strange. I was like okay then with the scripted segment afterwards, of like running away from it and like having to like essentially have it kill itself as you ride on the back of it.
As you smash it into rocks and mountains.
Yeah, just a strange sequence. I don't know. I wasn't quite sure what to make of because I just felt like, oh cool, this boss fight's gonna get harder at some point. It just never did. Yeah, weird. But we have another character that we learn the name of and ends up becoming one of the primary antagonists of the game. One Taron Malicos,
kind of
a fallen Jedi who is essentially also just a con artist. He goes to Dathomir and is like, yes, the Jedi destroyed your people and I have abandoned the Jedi. Therefore, you should join me in my non-Jedi-ness.
And Mirren, who's like a child at the time, is like, yes,
I will obey you, master. And but Malicos, of course, is a fallen Jedi, and Cal gets his lightsaber destroyed. He has to go back, and we have the whole Ilum segment. We go back to take on Malicos again. A very fun fight, very fun boss fight. I enjoyed the way that the game at that point in particular handled lightsaber combat, like saber to saber. Felt very cool. There were a lot of cool techniques in that fight that I very much enjoyed, which were I think perfected then in the final Trilla fight. More on that in a second.
Yes, absolutely.
But Ilum, my god, was such a cool segment. Aside from just also doing the really fun thing of being like, ooh, look at like Starkiller Base and the sequels and how those are being set up.
Here's the hint.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool. And when you get past that, it's a great segment as an atmosphere, because we arrive, there's no enemies anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
When on like going up, finding our crystal.
Yeah, and of course they would never do that because you don't have a lightsaber.
You don't have a lightsaber.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't you have to take down an Imperial spy droid thing or two?
Oh yeah. They have the little probe droids there.
The probe droids,
you'd have to like toss into each other. Yeah, that was fun.
So there were some low stakes enemies.
Yeah. But man, I just, it's such a cool segment. I loved, of course, the imagery of like traversing through the caves. I love also I found just really one of my favorite platforming puzzle segments of the game with the whole melting the ice as you like change the direction of the sunlight. I thought that was very cool.
That was very cool.
Yeah, that was a great segment. And of course, I love the connection between Cal and BD really solidifying in that moment. As we get that final message from Eno Cordova in getting that last crystal, in getting the lightsaber crystal. Yeah. Very cool. Just a great segment. Loved the Ilum segment, and also, I just love having the ability. I thought for sure I was just choosing one free lightsaber color crystal to get for myself in that moment in the cave. Yeah. Only to find out later that I could choose literally any of them whenever. I of course went with purple. It just looked cool.
It looked cool. Yeah.
I used purple for most of it, and then I used that lighter blue, the cyan, for what ended up being the final portion of the game. I didn't know it would be the final portion of the game.
It worked out nicely.
But it worked out nicely, because I figured we should use blue, but we had a couple options for blue. There was like that indigo one, there's the base blue, and we used cyan. Yeah. Cyan looked great in that moment. But yeah, we have like Marin joining the joining the Mantis crew.
Who's pretty easily convinced to join along.
Yeah. I do also love, I really do, in the Return to Bogano then, before the Trilla fight, that whole segment when Cal is going through that Force vision of seeing of like him actually successfully like rebuilding the Jedi Order and having like various younglings to train, and like seeing them all being hunted by the Empire, and seeing how perhaps gathering all the Jedi in one place could essentially just lead to Order 66 again. And the way that does that just on a this is also one of those moments where a truly open world and not holding your hand type of game Fallen Order is, how that could be really effective in just allowing the player to explore the space, seeing how the environment changes around you when you're going through that whole Force vision. So cool, so well done.
That was definitely a very interesting segment, especially when it goes from like the soft visions of not knowing everything that's happening, mm-hmm. and the hypothetical younglings all being like very ambiguous, to the very hard Cal has been an Inquisitor now. Yeah. I am mimicking in real life the lightsaber blade turning on.
It's cool. It's such a cool segment. Oh man, when it's just like ignite your lightsaber, everything turns red, you're in the Inquisitor outfit. So fucking cool. Loved that. Oh my god, such a great segment. Like I said, just the whole run from Ilum onwards is just such a great portion of the game. We have from there, Trilla steals the holocron. There are like 3 different fights with Trilla throughout this game where you cannot actually fight the bitch. Like you can,
but you're always cut off somehow.
The health bar always goes down, and the fight gets cut off somehow. Which happens twice with the Ninth Sister as well.
Yes, I thought about that too. I would comment on that pretty much every time it happened.
Yeah. There are so many fights in the game that don't actually end with the boss fight. Even the bat thing, you don't fully kill, and it flies away, and then you get the essentially cutscene death for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just strange. But yeah, Trilla steals the holocron. We get the knighting scene with Cal, which again I just adore. Cere fully like taking on an actually like Jedi Master like position in the Cal's life. Really enjoy that. And then we go to the Fortress Inquisitorius, which insane, absolutely insane. Love seeing that. Took me a second to realize. I was like, wait a second, this came out before the Obi-Wan show. The Obi-Wan show was a bit based off this because it's 1-to-1. It looks so good.
It looks so good.
So good. The Obi-Wan show, I think, it gives you a greater appreciation for the Obi-Wan show, actually, for so faithfully recreating that whole space. It looks fantastic. But man, there are a couple fights that really gave me a run for my money in the Inquisitorius.
They did, but only after they made you feel super powerful.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They throw a ton of like just 1 or 2 hit stormtroopers your way at the start throughout that whole base, and then like the dojo gauntlet. My god, the different types of troopers they were constantly throwing at you. It really wore me down. Not quite as much as Trilla though. Good god. That final second sister fight. Insane. Absolutely insane. Really, really tested me. I did beat it in 1 try, but man, I was almost down.
You were almost. It was so bad. You're on your you used your last stim. Your health bar's like basically nothing.
Dude, yeah.
You're finishing the fight. The cutscene happens where Trilla's like her eyes turn regular again.
Yeah, well, because we get a great moment of like reconciliation with Cere and Trilla. You see her actually like try to reason with her and try to like actually apologize for leaving her there. Like,
and then from the background, we hear breathing.
Mm-hmm. And it clicked for me. I was like, wait a second. Oh yeah, no, I think I knew Vader was in this game. If not, he was definitely in the second game. Maybe he's in both.
He might be in both. That's possible. Yeah.
But we have the whole like you failed me for the last time. Essentially, Trilla say I like Trilla's last line being "Avenge us."
Yes.
And then Darth Vader standing there in the final room.
Your health bar hasn't recovered.
Health bar has not recovered. Have not gained stims back. And I just see the bars go up. I'm like, oh well. I guess I could try. I'm sure what'll happen. My mind goes through a million things. I'm like, okay, what'll happen is I'm probably gonna fight him. I'm probably gonna die. I'll do a respawn. I'll fight Vader. Here we go. I can do this. I can handle this. And hey, Cere's by my side. Maybe I'll get an assist. Who knows?
You throw your lightsaber.
One of my favorite moves in the game.
Yeah,
because I did spend my skill points on the lightsaber throw. So much fun. Love it. A huge help. I throw the lightsaber at him. He blocks it. It comes right back to me. No health bar for Vader shows up.
No.
Nothing shows up. I'm like, oh. let me try it again. I tried like 2 or 3 times. I'm like, oh, okay, no, it wants me to run. I can't do this. Cool. I start running away. It unlocks the bio for Darth Vader. I pull up the bio for Darth Vader. It literally says, the only chance of survival is escape. I'm like, oh, fuck.
We're like, oh, God. Oh, no.
God, so much of this game brilliantly gives the player the experience of like becoming a Jedi, fully powering yourself up, learning these abilities, becoming a better lightsaber combatant, you know, really making you feel as powerful as you can be. And so much of the game, especially in that final Inquisitorious segment, is you mowing through stormtroopers. You feel like Darth Vader at the end of Rogue One. You're going down this hall, you're slicing the motherfuckers down. And so quickly was that feeling flipped on its head.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, I'm a rebel. I'm stuck in this tight hall in the Tantive 4, and I'm running desperately for my life from Darth fucking Vader. And it
was such a brilliant execution.
Such an amazing segment. The best part of the game, like the best part of the game, I don't think it should be the final part of the game. But it is a truly fulfilling portion that I thought that felt the best gameplay wise. It kept me excited, kept me on my toes. I was screaming throughout the entire end. It was so much fun.
It was so
much fun. Yeah, just
and we know where we have to go. We have to escape. As you are earlier, as you're mowing down people, you just idly pass an elevator.
Yeah,
and Cal has some offhand dialogue that we're hearing all of the game, being like, "Oh, we can escape this way," and I was like, "Oh, I guess that's how we leave."
Yeah. Oh man.
And then as we're running, I'm like, "Joy, get to the left."
Oh, it was so much fun. It was so much fun. Good God. And I thought, once again, I thought for sure Seer was going down. Did not go down.
Especially when she's tossed over the edge into what appears to be lava.
Yeah. Now here's the thing also, like, about a month ago, I bought Jedi Battle Scars. I've had the book on my shelf. I looked at it afterwards. I looked at the cover again. Seer's on the cover. I'm so stupid. Like, she's there. It's just, I just wasn't, I hadn't looked at the cover since I bought it. And I just don't want to leave this without saying that we only escaped Darth Vader because of BD1 and Seer. And because they solo him. Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. BD1, I love BD1. We haven't mentioned him enough throughout this review, but man, I love BD1. I think immediately, like, at least top 10 droids in Star Wars. I love BD1.
He's the only droid I know that damaged Vader.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. I mean, that's how you do it. Like, that's also a great part of, like, the scaling of the game is being like, oh yeah, BD1 gets better. He can, like, hack into things. He can slice these things. And then you think, oh, he can do that to Vader too as well, and he does that. It's so good. You have to actually press the button to slice into Vader's technology. It's so good. It's so well done. I could see immediately why this game is so beloved by such a large community. I can see why stupid things like Cal wearing a poncho is so iconic to the game. I can see why BD1 is so beloved. You know how they make those Lego like sculptures of the like R2-D2 and the big model C3PO. There's one for BD1 as well.
Oh, is
like,
there?
There is, yeah. Like, it's like the only Jedi Order set they ever made, and it's a BD1. And it looks so cool. These games are so beloved for a reason, and I'm so happy to be into this. I think there are obviously, as we have expressed, a great many things to improve upon in the second game. For now, I'm excited to do some reading. I'm excited to read some comics, some books. I'm excited to get more of these characters without the frustration of backtracking on maps. So that's very nice.
I want to just do the pure narrative experience for now.
Mm-hmm. And something I'm also very excited to see in following on from the end of this game is to just see the Mantis crew make a life for themselves. To see them, I don't know, have a purpose that isn't, we're going to rebuild the Jedi Order, or yuck, you know, like they're going to have to find a new life for themselves. And I really appreciate that.
It's especially because of the group that it's in. We've got a Night Sister, a non-Force user, a reluctant Jedi Master,
and a Jedi Knight.
And a Jedi Knight.
I think there's also something really poignant about the ending being like, you know, not just choosing a new path forward, but saving a great many by destroying the holocron and saving them not just from themselves but from the Empire. You know, it is played as a horrific moment when Cal sees that Force vision of all of those younglings dead, and it's just like, no, we can avoid this. We can avoid this future, and Cal takes, I think, very much the right lesson from that. So
especially, I think all the characters do too, because no one seems to fight him on it.
Yeah, everyone's in on it, and so am I. So, God, what a great game!
It was a really good game.
I enjoyed it.
Like we've expressed, it has some room to improve.
Yeah, very much so. But no, I think I think it's a strong foundation. I think I could see why this game is so beloved. I think from what I've heard, I think Survivor, according to, I've only heard like one or two fan opinions, but the consensus seems to be like it is a better video game, if maybe a slightly weaker story. But I mean, who knows how we'll feel when we get into it.
Yeah, that's...
Well, but I mean, hey, just hearing better video game inspires me with confidence, because that's my biggest criticism.
Yeah, I think that was easily the biggest criticism we could levy at this.
Yeah, I think on a just as far as the design of the game goes, there's room for improvement. So all that is to say, that's it for us today. Next time we are covering Jedi Dark Temple, the 5-part comic miniseries by Matthew Rosenberg, who I really like. Matthew Rosenberg did got that Joker ongoing for a while. He's a great writer.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Anyway, looking forward to that. We're doing Battle Scars after that, reading that book, and then we're getting into Jedi Survivor. So very excited to get into all of that. I'm not sure what we're doing after that, honestly. I don't think we actually decided.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, this is still the next 3 episodes of R2-BD are already decided.
We will know for sure sooner than later.
Yeah, we'll have to
what follows.
Yeah. So, all right. In the meantime, check out other things we do on the channel. Any and all support is greatly appreciated. We do Star Trek reviews. Me and the other Jacob, not this Jacob, another Jacob. We do a podcast called Fresh Face Comics, where we read, where he reads comics for the first time that I have read. We also do Fresh Face One Shots. We cover current comics coming out. And then there's our Patreon, patreon.com/Blood Donut Studios. You can get all kinds of fun things there, like early Star Trek reviews, exclusive Star Trek commentaries, Fresh Face extras, and bad movie commentaries. All kinds of fun stuff going on over there. But of course, any and all support is greatly appreciated, even if you just hit subscribe to the channel. It really does go a long way. So, all right. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to join us next time. Until then, my name is Joey.
I'm Jacob.
Goodbye.